Hi, it's Ellie Weber. Welcome back to our channel, my dear family and friends. We are going to be talking about LifeWave. I found out a few hours ago that Dr. Stacy had gone to Mexico, and I know that I had promised to be on at this time, so I want to just do a little half-hour segment, and I'm going to show you a video from David Schmidt, which I think is of very critical importance. It's important to really hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Hear it from David, and hear a little bit of the story, a little bit of the background of this incredible healing product called LifeWave. I The ones that I'm using now, I use this SP6, which is very good for your endocrine system, and I use X39. If I was rolling in a little more, if I was a little more liquid, I had a little more of an income, there are a lot of other patches I would be using at the same time. There's also Celergize. There's a morning formula, which is like which is a supplement, and there's a PM, there's an evening supplement. Hey, you love your mind, Zenjamin. I love that word. But yeah, so I'm just I can't say enough about this product. I've done a lot of network marketing things in the past. I started actually in, gosh, it was back in the early 90s. I was into a company called Celltech, which was using algae from Klamath Lake in Oregon as a food source and as a supplement. It was a very exciting project, but it didn't work out for me. The network marketing thing didn't work out, and I got back into, well, education. I got into education for the first time after being in contracting for many years. But I do want to also say that if anyone in our family, in our community, in my downline is interested in making this a business so you can go to trips to Mexico with Dr. Stacy and this kind of thing. I mean, there are tremendous benefits to being involved in network marketing. I haven't really hit my stride with this. We haven't had any free trips yet, but I expect we'll get some. It's just a wonderful way to do business. It's a wonderful community. I personally believe that business is a positive, that when you have a relationship with someone and it turns into a business relationship, I don't see that as a negative. I see that as a positive because it cements, it makes more real, more tangible your relationship. So now you're actually helping each other make money. I think that's beautiful. I don't. I grew up. My grandfather was a very successful businessman, and my mother, for some reason, who's a lib. I love my mother. Don't get me wrong, but she was always like, business. It's, they're taking advantage of people, and there was a lot of that in my grandfather's business. But I believe, just in my experience of when you do business with somebody, it's kind of like you have to you have to invade into their trust territory, and it's a win-win for both sides, in my opinion. And network marketing makes it even more so that way. You're not really competing, you're helping each other succeed. And I think this is a tremendous product. I've been saying in a lot of my live broadcasts. Let me put up the information. Let's go. I was going down to here. Let's see if we could do this one. Oh yeah, this one has a traveling banner. Let's see, LifeWave. Yeah, you can sign up under me, Kabbalah Guru, or Gmail, Dr. Stacy, or text or call her. She'll be probably back in a few days. I was hoping there was another one. Let me just see if I can get. Let's hide that one. Let me see if I can get this one. Oh, wait, save. I have to save it and then show. Okay, let's see if this one's a little better. Has that same information, but Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, drstacyzoom.com. That's what I wanted to add here. This is an incredible opportunity. And what I wanted to say is that if you are interested in sharing this with your friends, with your family, and making a little income, at least to pay for your patches, this space would be open to you. In other words, you could do a podcast with me or with Dr. Stacy, or we would make, I'm hoping to help people who are looking for a revenue stream, just like I am. I mean, I have no other revenue stream. I'm probably on all kinds of FBI lists. I've been, I lost my job in the Department of Education. YouTube is, they're like kind of a fickle friend. I don't make any money on X and that sort of thing. So, but I'm very interested in sharing this product. And I think it's really in line with our message, which is the Great Awakening is happening, and you need to be an active participant, in my opinion, in investing. You need to become an investor. You need to become an investor in your health. You need to expand. You need to unify your diverse elements. This is something I spoke to today. I put out a little video which I knew was going to be a total flop, because people don't want to hear like lofty things. But what I said in this video, and this is so true, is that in the matrix, everything is separate and everything is like when. When is it going to happen? When is this? How long does it take for Livewave to cure me? When is XRP going to go to the moon? When is the Iraqi? Everybody wants to know when. This is a very much of a matrix way of thinking. This is fear. It is, that it doesn't exist until it's made official, this kind of thing. I believe in a kind of a unified, this is how I can best describe it, unified consciousness, which means my health, my wealth, my relationships, what I eat, what I breathe, everything is connected, right? And when you're in your flow, I believe that's the word they use. Isn't that when you're in the flow? Like when I'm in my flow, which is generally when I'm out building my house, I'm in the flow, and I could be doing 3 different things at once, and it all makes sense. And I'm not worried about the time, and I'm not worried about how I feel. I'm not thinking in a matrix way of limitations of when is the house going to get built. I don't think about it because I'm enjoying so much building the house. That we are moving as, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but we are moving as a people into an ascension state where you come into a kind of a unification, and that's the difference between the matrix and this kind of thinking, is that it's all connected here in the real world, in the divine world. Everything is connected. Right? If you get taken off on a little tangent about, oh my gosh, what's something I did 5 years ago, or if I don't get this, I'm not going to be, or, I can't ascend until I have a certain amount of money, this kind of thinking, that's all matrix divisional thinking. What LifeWave for me unifies my health, my quest for health. So when we wake up in the morning, before we even put on, should I say this? Before we even get dressed, let's say before we even get dressed, we put on the light, I put on X39 and SP6 to balance my hormonal system, my endocrine system. Daniela puts on, what are you putting on these days? SP6, that's all we have. That's all we have? Okay, so that's all we have right now. But we've ordered a lot of other patches. There are a lot of really good patches that are, interesting on to have. X49 also for your muscles. So anyway, I wanted to unload a general thinking that everything is connected. You are an investor. You are investing in your health. You are making sure your diet is good. You're making sure you get enough sleep. You're able, because of this kind of a unification of consciousness, to help others and to help yourself and not be a problem, not be a burden to the rest of the world. So anyway, yeah. So that's, I just wanted to just sort of get that, to breach that, to jump over that wall, that what I'm looking for, as if I was to think of myself as kind of like a teacher, what I really want to teach people is to get out of the consciousness where like, well, what does Trump really mean, or what does what's going to happen December 2nd? Why did Q put, all these why, when kinds of questions are fear based, that I want to help people get out of this like need to know what's going to happen to me next week, and come into a consciousness of, well, where do I want to be next week? What am I trying to create here? What's my purpose? How can all the separate parts of my life come together around this general principle, general purpose? Hey, Pasquale. So that's the basic thing. So I thought we would, but the offer is that if you're interested in doing this as a business, you'll come on the podcast. We'll help you. We want you to grow. We want people, more and more people to understand the benefit of the LifeWave patches. So with that said, I'm going to now go to a tape of David Schmidt explaining how this came. Give him money. What's that about? I don't need money, man. I mean, I don't want you. I want you to benefit. This does help me financially, but it also gives you an introduction to a. We got the maybe we have the bots back, the trolls back. I mean, it's always a good sign when you have a few trolls. It means you're stirring up the water. You're making for change. So yeah. Anyway, well, let's go. I do want to go to. I wanted to check in with you. I pressed the wrong button again, but okay. Let's now go to this video. Let's see if you find this informational. That this is informationally pertinent to you. Let's go. This is David Schmidt, the inventor of LifeWave.
And I developed LifeWave, which is a new form of phototherapy, a new way to improve health with light in a very convenient manner. I originally developed that for the crew of submarines, but then with 9/11, the technology went public, and I started LifeWave in 2002, and we were at market in 2004. So this year is going to be our 20th anniversary, celebrating our success in helping people all over the world.
That's amazing. And you are helping people all over the world. So David, initially, if I recall, this technology was really an effort to help the Navy, the Navy special ops groups with additional energy, so that they were not having to drink, external synthetic forms of energy. And you came up with a way to help the body produce more energy naturally. And that's something that I think everyone I know certainly is open to, more energy naturally, but it has evolved so far beyond that simple idea. So in this arc of growth in these 20 years, where did you start? How did you actually see it happening? And then where are you today?
Well, that's a big question. So I'll take it a step at a time. It started with this very basic idea that we use cell phone communications, satellite communications, and what if we could develop a way of communicating with the body? Could we understand the code that the body uses for communication and then tap into it? And as you said, what I was trying to do is find an alternative for the stimulants that the crew of subs were using to stay awake so they could go on very long missions. And basically, over a period of a few years, I came up with this idea that you could have a passive device that you would apply to your body. It's as convenient as applying a Band-Aid, but what it does is it's activated and powered by a person's body heat, and it will stimulate the skin with very low levels of light to increase energy production in the cell. And at the time, I was just interested in finding a way to improve energy through elevated fat burning. But this led into pain relief, improved sleep, anti-aging, mobilizing stem cells in the body. And the subject that I'm really passionate about right at the moment is that there was a link connected between this very basic mechanism and reversing human biological age. So since about 2018-19, our labs here have been developing new technology that looks like we're going to be able to reverse in part and in full human aging. So that's what I'm really excited about today.
Well, again, who would say no? Please tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I would say it this way. Here's the thing that's really exciting is that science does not have to figure out a way how to stop aging. What we really need to do is look at nature and all the examples that nature provides on species that are effectively already immortal, and then figure out how to apply it to human beings. So it's a very different problem to solve.
So give me an example of a species that is already immortal.
Lobsters. Lobsters are effectively immortal. It's one of the species that we study here in our labs. And what I mean by that is there have been lobsters that have been found over 130 years old, and they have not aged in the process. They have complete control over oxidative and inflammatory stress. Their cells divide without aging. And if it wasn't for the limitations on their size, then they could effectively not die. Of course, they could get sick. They could be killed by a predator. But they're a very good example of a species that doesn't age. There's also species called planaria, and planaria are a flatworm. They have incredible regenerative capacity. You cut their tail off and they'll just grow a new tail. They, again, will not age, and as long as they're not killed by a predator, their lifespan is effectively immortal.
Wow. So how do you then, and I understand this is going to be either a scientific deep dive or you're going to be able to give me like 30 words to really clarify, but how do you translate that into the human aspect? I mean, how is that something that we can take and apply in as simplistic form as a Band-Aid, as you mentioned before with the photo light therapy?
The answer is both going to be one of the most exciting things that you've ever heard, and also one of the most extraordinary, because as it turns out, the answer is in the Bible. But before I tell you about that, which I didn't learn until after the fact, during our research, effectively in biochemistry, what's known about lobsters and some other species is the mechanisms of how their cells are able to divide an infinite number of times. So the biochemistry is understood. How you apply that to human beings is what people are trying to figure out. But what I wanted to approach the problem quite a bit differently. I wanted to see about how light was being used in these organisms. So we were studying planaria, lobsters, and also a species of ant, and looking at what type of light emission comes off of these of the answer of the lobster. And when we studied this, I began to see that there was a pattern forming. And it looked very much almost like a biological code or a computer code to me. And that it was not random, it was highly organized. And as I started to develop a biophysics model for this and run some calculations, I started to invent and develop technology, and we started to do our studies. And we found in our cell culture studies that we could reverse the age of the cells 2 to 3 years in only about 10 minutes exposure to this novel type of light therapy. I'm involved in a Bible study. And one of the things in the Bible study is to look at the original Hebrew of the Old Testament or the original Greek of the New Testament. And in Hebrew, you can convert letters and words over into numbers. And I converted in the book of Genesis, the story of creation. I converted those words from Hebrew over into numbers. And the same pattern that was in lobsters was in the book of Genesis, in the story of creation.
Wow.
And this became really self-evident to me, is that there is a God and creator. God created all things and put his signature in living organisms. And we can detect this today. It wasn't possible many years ago, but technology now that's been around for, let's say, the last 20 years, where we can actually measure the light emission off of these organisms, allows us to validate that that is indeed the same as what's in the Bible, and these codes are not there by accident. It's highly organized.
So it's not random, and you're able to duplicate it and also apply it. So
well, that's the most exciting part, is that you can actually apply it and turn it into technology that people can use. So one of the things that I did was, I thought one day, what if God was trying to communicate to us something about the tree of life? So we know before Adam and Eve fell from grace that they had the tree of life that had fruit. They could eat from that and presumably be immortal. So I thought maybe the answer is just there. So I took the word in Hebrew for tree of life, converted that into a number. And then I thought, okay, maybe that number is a frequency. So I want to convert that frequency over into a wavelength of light. And it translated into 857 nanometers. That's exactly the wavelength of light that we use to turn on the mitochondria. And that's exactly the wavelength that causes the genes in the cells to revert to a younger expression. So that in no way can be a coincidence.
in no way to be a coincidence, but it's not lost on me that somebody had to discover it, which is very, I mean, that's got to feel like something that it has fallen to you to actually uncover the secret.
Oh, it's pretty much a wow moment. But the really fun part is when you can take that and you can apply it. And one of the things that we started to do in here in our lab is, I got this idea that with the patches, we're stimulating the skin with light. But what if you could grow food and you could put the light into the food and then people would consume it? What would happen? So we did 2 human pilot studies, which were demonstrating age reversal very rapidly. And one of the things that we did was we put people in front of an infrared camera, and we gave them this particular material to digest. They took the material, and then within a few minutes, 2-3 minutes, you could actually see on the infrared camera white light coming from their throat and from their head. So the light is going into the body, it's being metabolized by the cell, and then it's being released.
And then just from the inside out, they would reverse age more organically. If you could sell food that's already pre-programmed, so to speak.
That's right.
Then
That's right.
we would be able to access it more organically through our day-to-day. Is that the idea?
Yeah. What happens is that when you take these materials into the body that have been effectively charged with light, the metabolism in the cell changes and it starts to speed up, and the cells produce more energy, and that causes the cells to expand, and that's all measurable. You do it through interstitial scanning, and the age of a cell is directly correlated to its size and membrane potential. So that's how we can determine how much the cell has reversed in aging in a period of time.
Oh, okay, so I guess you could watch the rest of the video on your own, but I think it's interesting to see David Schmidt and to hear his thinking. This is really a spiritual quest to bring this product to people. I think he's talking about the water machine. They came out with a water machine. I've never heard the pricing on it. I don't know, but they changed the water molecule, and it and you drink it, and it keeps you young. I don't personally own one of these machines, but I am looking forward to getting a hold of it. They also have a couple of patches called Y Age, which is glutathione, which produces glutathione in your body, the master antioxidant. Carnosine. What's the third one in Y Age? And there's a third one, a third patch, but the technology actually increases the length of your telomeres, I think it's called, and that's how you stay young. Y age, so hence Y age. But anyway, I'm sorry that Dr. I'm kind of filling in for Dr. Stacy. I would like to have you guys come and join me here and talk about your experience. I love this product. I encourage everyone to try it. We appreciate the support on the channel. Uh, it's just a phone call away, or you could just click on the website and try some X39. You may not feel it immediately. I didn't really become aware of the tremendous changes that have taken place in my body for 2 years. I was taking this, and then I was like, well, wait a minute, man, I'm not napping anymore. And I'm like, have all this energy and clarity, and so I really encourage you. The medical model is not based on healing, it's based on treating symptoms. If you're taking medication, traditional medication for pain, there is a patch called Ice Waves. It's a two-patch system which will take you out of pain. But I find the X39 and Alavita also is very good. They're all good for reducing pain. It's just like your body gets more light. And I'm able, I'm 70 years old, and I'm building a house. After this program, we're going to pop in another 4x6 piece of glass into our house, and really make something from nothing with very little money. I mean, that's people are like, well, I can't really come into the great awakening until I get my money. I'm just like, I don't think that's the right attitude. I think the right attitude is to change yourself first, primarily change your thinking, try to get rid of the fear thoughts as much as possible, get rid of your of judgment of yourself and others, and just get out there and do stuff, explore stuff. This is the age of awakening, where we're coming to realize that we are the great manifestors. I know a lot of the sages said, I did pretty good, but you're going to do better. That's you guys. That's Neo. And I think being focused on your health, and that's what the Lifewave patch for me is, a focus on my health. I'm also living with a partner who is totally 100% into the newest technology. I mean, she will not let me wear clothes that are synthetic. She will not let me drink out of a plastic bottle. She is constantly changing our diet because of some research she's done. So I'm very blessed to have such a partner. But we all have to take control of our lives, take control of your investments, take control of your health. Yeah. Half hour. Okay. She's telling me my time is up. I have to go out and put in a window. But anyway, I just can't thank you guys enough for coming on to this program. And those of you who have tried it, God bless you. Thank you. We do receive financial benefits. We're not, apparently, Jaco does really well with this. I haven't really reached his exalted level of financial success, but this is the only way I'm able to really like improve my income in that way, because I've been taken down on, I've been taken down by the best of them. But I think the world is reorganizing. But the basic thing I would say is, do not wait to be saved. Save yourself now. Get in the groove. Get your health, get your investments, get your life, get your relationships. Just be clear about who you are, what you want, and your purpose, why you're here. I mean, I don't know how you guys were, but my whole life I was like, what's the point? I'm like, why are we here? I'm going to school every day, and I'm suffering with it's just not a pleasant experience. And when growing up, I was just always saying, like, what gives? Why are we here? And now I really feel like I can answer the question. And the answer is because this is a divine experience, and we're learning to become the extension of Adam from the Garden of Eden. We've improved Adam by, Adam was just totally with God all the time. He was in total spiritual state. We have improved the human genome, the human awareness, to the point where we are actively involved in creation. Adam was not. We are. And this is where the rubber hits the roads. It's, you can, like I say, you should be writing about your dreams. You should be talking about your dreams. But at the end of it is, you have to act. You have to act. You have to get out and find a piece of land.
There's a troll on YouTube.
There's a troll on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, I knew there was a troll on YouTube. Well, let me just go to YouTube for 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay, live. Okay, so okay, got him. All right, took care of the troll. These people. I mean, they have nothing better to do. It's a big, like my son said when I started doing these videos. He says, when you have haters, man, that knows you're successful. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. I'm sorry that Dr. Stacey's here. I hope I filled it in, but I'm hoping that we can collect a bunch of people who are into this, who want to share this product, who want to share good health with people, who want to share the idea of like moving forward without anyone's help, with your own divine connection, right? Like David Schmidt was talking about Genesis and about Gematria. We have the power, we have the tools. You just have to act. And the action, the physical world is the whole, according to Hasidus, is the highest level of God's revelation. The physical, plain old physical, not spiritual, prophecy and all that other nonsense. It's just doing things that really fulfill your destiny. So be troll, be gone. Yeah, thanks. Anyway, we'll see you in a couple hours. Have a great day, and love you all, and thank you all for your support. And that's it, man. Just be fruitful and multiply, and let's get out there with a big smile and rock the world.